Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Ryan,
I'm Heather.
and this is Confidence Through Cabaret promotes Confidence Through Coffee.
Yes.
What are you drinking today? Cheers.
I'm on instant coffee as usual. I'm on my Millicano,
I'm on,
Yes.
what am I on today? Oh, this is Taylor's decaf again. I'm back
Ah,
on the decaf. I
nice
had like
decaf.
3 this morning, so I
I
think
mean,
it's better.
caffeine is my drug of choice. So,
Right, exactly. I mean, same.
so cheers to your possible beauty.
Cheers. Cheers to your possible beauty. Oh my God. Just in case anyone misses that, that is a line from Moira Rose on Schitt's Creek.
It is my spirit animal.
Absolutely. Oh dear. So we recently had an incredible interview on the pod with the fabulous Aakriti Kundu, and it was such an interesting set of takes on not only her practice but kind of her philosophy and her awakening to philosophy, right?
Yeah, I mean, she takes us through, what her journey was, and how her practice kind of chose her,
Mm,
how she chose to take on that challenge,
yeah.
and that really kind of defines the kind of coach that she is, because she talked about being a coach of lots of different things, and then really finding that place of inner knowing where you're aligned to the work that you're doing, which is just such a gift.
Absolutely.
So I love in the beginning how Akriti talks about um, masculine and feminine energy. And I
Mm,
mean, my work, she actually said at one stage, I mean, who talks about energy? I was like, yeah, me.
yeah.
Because that's my whole thing. Is it just, yeah. I mean, and we're always talking about that energy, um, and and the feminine energy is such an important part of confidence. It just is. Well, do you know what? Why don't we listen to a clip, and then have a look at how Akriti defines feminine for her.
In the world of feminine energy and divine feminine, the masculine energy can oftentimes be vilified. So you'll hear a lot about the masculine is all about taking and pushing and forcing. And it's not true. Like what you just said, the concepts of success, the concepts of building, the concepts of achievement all fall under uh, a masculine tree of what it means, what masculine energy is all about. Right? There's a sense of individuality that comes up with being masculine. There's a confidence that comes up with being masculine. The feminine side of it is therefore by contrast more about community. It's more about nourishing and nurturing and taking care of each other. The feminine is about collective. So um, this could mean collecting something or also just being part of the collective. It's about collaboration. The feminine is just like maybe you haven't experienced it, but the thought that comes up when you think of a mother, a sister, a grandmother, a friend, the ideas that we have or that we've been sold on, the stories that we've been told about somebody who takes you in, who holds you, who sees you for who you are, these are all aspects of the feminine being lived through people. So God, what even are the words? Generosity, kindness, caring, nurturing, nourishment, collaboration. These are all very strong and um, potent feminine energies. And especially, I wanted to mention those because they have, or we can see examples of how these energies can also lead to success and power and strength.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I can imagine. I mean, I didn't grow up in India, but I can imagine that drive to compete and rise to the surface, and all of those things would have been, we all experience it to some degree, but in a population where there it's such a high population and such a competition to success, really taking that time to define what success means, and I love how she shares with us a little bit earlier on in the journey about, finding that and accepting the feminine energy,
Yeah.
and that divine femininity doesn't mean that you have to be doing, driving. It's just about, embracing the creativity and the playfulness and the feelings and the nurturing and
Yeah.
so many times during that interview there were silences where we just sort of sat there and went
It is really interesting, isn't it? Because like the discussion that she's taking on there is such a relatable one for so many people, because the idea of, as much as it's specific to Akriti's experience, that thing of, do you have to do all these different things, you have to be this, you have to be that, you have to follow all these rules, you have to be super this and super that, very competitive and all these sorts of things. I think everybody up to the point of lockdown, really, and then even through a chunk of that, because there was a drive to continue to be productive, and continue to be all of the things that you were before, really resonates.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How did that work? How did you find that?
I mean, lockdown was, in the UK, we were locked down many more months than a lot of the world.
Yeah.
And in fact, we're still in lockdown, 10 months later. But I think I struggle to let go of that need to, even though my corporate conferences were obviously all cancelled, I really struggle to unwind from that. I have a very strong masculine energy, and that doing and achieving and driving and being all these things, and I really struggle to let go of that, and to just get quiet and kind of embrace it. And I do think that in that sense my journey with aligns with Akriti's about what it means to just listen to yourself and just self-care and really engaging in all of those energies that she talks about, that are under the feminine energy. And obviously we both have, we all have both of those energies in us. We just have very often a preference for one or the other. And I can feel it when my masculine energy is kicking in, because both my feminine and masculine are very, very high. And I feel a little bit guilty, if I'm honest, if I overindulge the feminine energy, except as a mother. So as a mother, I sort of go, oh, I'm supposed to be nurturing, and I'm supposed to be, feeling and caring and, and so on. But I think my parenting style had a lot of masculine energy into it. And I think I put, particularly, and this is going to sound terrible, but particularly with my boys, I pushed, like, you've got to be achieving, you've got to be doing more, and you've got to be doing this and that, and you've got to be busy every day, and here's your school clubs, and here's your after school clubs, and here's your weekend clubs, and here's your, and drive and do. And I found it exhausting, but I also, in hindsight, recognized that that isn't an ideal message. Just letting yourself and your family just be. There's some real strength in that. And unfortunately, where we live in the UK and where I'm from in Canada, there's a lot about doing. And those are the messages, right? Because that's what gets recognized. And that's, and I think if I had my time again, I would be sending those messages about it's okay to just be and just play and create and not be achieving and the next badge and the next level and the next thing. And and so 2020 taught me about the feminine energy of just being, because we had to just be, right.
And that's the thing about this, is that it's not bad to have those drives. It is not bad to to be a person who has those traits, that that drive and that willingness to succeed. It's none of that. It's not about that being bad or good. It's about having balance, and sort of, as we've talked about before, about having a kind of sense of alignment. And that is different for everybody, because we all have those energies mixed in with us in different ratios that are right for what we need.
Yeah.
And it's all about tapping into that and figuring out your your balance and what works for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, my background's very much in the corporate world, and in particular, because I work with lots of different clients,
Yeah.
I am usually in a male dominated environment.
Right.
That's not by choice. That just is how it happens. So I work with a lot of technical kind of businesses where they tend to be, engineers, or they tend to be, I don't know, accountants, or they tend to be, so, and they tend to be quite male dominated,
Right.
particularly when I'm working with senior management, which we all know is a thing of, but I think it, any overextended strength becomes a weakness. So
Right.
those extensions of ourselves are
Yeah.
great to a point. And
Right.
that's the same with anything, right? That's the same with, fitness. It's good for you to a point, and then
Yeah.
it becomes toxic. Food, and having, no food is banned to a point, but
Right.
you can overdo anything.
Yes.
You can
Yeah.
overdo literally anything.
Mm.
And I think you're right. It is about finding that balance. And in the podcast, which you can find on Podbean or anywhere you get your podcasts, then I think the bit about just really giving into that, and finding that feminine energy in you. And I mean, even that word, like, I feel a bit weird sort of saying that, because
Right.
there'll be some males going, feminine,
Yeah.
but because we're taught not to say that, right?
Yeah.
We're taught not to do that. But of course,
Mm.
it's just it's a language that we have to put on it, and it's unfortunate because it relates to men and women, and that's
Yes.
not true,
Yeah.
because gender is a man-made construct, as we know. But I think, it's we have to put some language around those energies.
Yeah.
And so feminine and masculine are as good as any.
Yes.
We could call them, blue and orange. It doesn't really matter about the language, but it
Right.
is
Right.
finding that
Yeah.
balance, and where your balance is. And maybe your balance is like this, and that's fine, but you still have to honor this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, you're right. There's the language is always very difficult surrounding this subject, because the language is constantly adapting and changing. And what was codified between certain binaries, we know has been made as a construct. And so untangling some of that is partly the process by which we untangle that connection and get to experience it and work with that more. Because if, for anybody who's listening who might be like, oh, well, feminine or masculine, it's like, really what we're saying with those energies is that they don't actually belong to a specific set. We all get to enjoy those energies where they appear in our lives, and we also have to be able to work with those energies.
Yeah, and imagine if we had a world where we didn't engage in feminine energy, and we didn't
Yeah.
do creativity and play,
Yeah.
and reflection,
Mhm.
and no business can survive without that.
No,
If
absolutely.
it was do win win win, it just doesn't.
Mhm.
It wouldn't exist. It
Yeah.
just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And there'd be massive burnout, which I know a lot of companies have experienced with,
Yeah. Yeah.
people. And obviously mental health is a big thing, because we're not honoring that. And so if our preference is like this,
Yeah.
the camera like that. No, okay, here we go. Hold on, I got this. I got this.
You got this. You got
Our
this.
preference is like this by nature, that's fine, but you still have to honor this lower one.
Yeah.
You don't have to make it 50-50,
Yeah.
but you still have to honor that, tuning into that nurturing, and that honoring, and those
Yeah.
feelings. And they don't ever have to become your preference, but you have to learn to appreciate and embrace them at whatever level they exist for you.
And how do you honor those energies in your life?
Well, it's quite different now, because 2020 happened, and so I So I'm a true extrovert, and so when we're using extroverted energy, we tend to be louder in our volume anyway.
Hmm.
We tend to speak more quickly and articulate our thoughts out loud, and that very much fits with an environment when I go into a business and it's predominantly men,
Mm.
if you like. And so there's quite a lot of masculine energy, then
Right.
then that fits in with that, right? Because I can be
Mm.
loud and I can be heard.
Yeah.
And what I have to do is kind of sometimes slow down and listen and bring that atmosphere in the room
Yeah.
to a more calm and reflective level, and to get people to tune into the feelings, which I often find is there's resistance in,
Yeah.
and get people to be, going inside and reflecting. um, and in some environments that's very difficult to do.
Yeah.
In fact, they won't do it, but the best that I can do is get them to recognize and honor that other people need that.
Mm.
So as managers, it's kind of, if that's not your preference to have that reflection and consider and create, then that's fine, so long as you value that
Mm.
and encourage that in others, because you
Yeah.
need that in any kind of a team working.
Mm. I agree.
But I'm enjoying that I so when I would go out to work, I
Right.
would have my makeup done, I would have my hair done, I would have my nails done, I would have,
Yeah.
I would present a physical image that is effortless,
Right.
but always polished,
Hmm.
because that sort of, it subliminally suggests that I'm polished, and therefore my work is polished and my content is polished. And so I'm quite enjoying that I get to work in, pajamas sometimes, and I'm quite enjoying that I don't need to do my hair, and I don't
Yeah.
need to, and I can
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
whatever I want, and I can have purple hair because I can't have purple hair when I go to conferences because there's a judgment on that. And some
Right.
people say, yeah, that's amazing, I love purple hair. And some people would say, not so much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I actually try, when I'm in the corporate world, to not stand out in any way that makes people notice those
Right.
things, right? Because I don't want them to have a judgment of me personally, because
Yeah.
that doesn't help me put my message across.
Right.
Whereas I'm enjoying this because we get to be who we are and what we
Yeah.
want to be.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I
And I
think
would
that's,
say the same would be true in the cabaret world.
yeah.
Because as much as cabaret is about freedom and expressing
Mhm.
and voice and narrative, there there are certain do's and don'ts.
Yes. Yeah.
There are some rules.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And there's always kind of the leftover hallmarks of, well, I say the leftover hallmarks, but the forces that exert upon us. And I don't mean that as like some sort of in a grand sense, but there are forces put upon us as from very young, from being literally from being born. Sometimes prior to that, there are roles ascribed to us, and there are systems that are made, and there are lots of different things that kind of tell us what lane we're supposed to be in. And one of the interesting things about lockdown, I think, as we can both empathize and certainly illustrated beautifully then, was the fact that a lot of those rules have become more transparent. And we're not talking about those rules just for a specific set of people, who already, as for instance, if we're working in cabaret, we're exposed to a certain amount of dialogue. But this is happening on a much larger scale now. And hopefully that means that as we get to sit inwards and sit internally, I mean, I certainly find as an introvert that the opposite for me is the thing. So I like to sit and be quiet with my thoughts and to process and to devour information. But I don't necessarily want to take the learning moment and the reflectiveness out of that, or I take it too far. So, and it becomes a cycle then. So this for me has been like a mixture of turning it the other way and figuring out where I need to tap in and where I need to retract and where I need to take time for myself, and not turn that into something reflective and all of that sort of stuff. So it's really interesting.
It's a balance again, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
if you
literally.
overextend that reflection, then
Mhm.
it leads to inactivity.
Yeah, yeah.
And if
But-
you are always driving, it
yeah,
leads to lack of reflection, which means that you're not learning from your previous
exactly.
experiences, which is the point.
Exactly. And if you would like to hear more about this this set of wonderful revelations that has been sort of inspired for us, then please go to Podbean and check out our incredible interview with the fabulous Aakriti Kundu.
Yes, and where you get your podcast, Confidence Through Cabaret. Check it.
Yes.
Check it. We talk about work life, personal life, and stage life in pretty much equal balance.
Yeah.
A lot of them cross over. We always recommend that you start from where you're strong. So where are you most confident? And then where do you want to build your confidence? And then listen to it through that filter in your own mind. You can also check us out. I did a thing yesterday.
What did you do?
I Googled us. So I've never Googled myself. Like I know people Google it, so I can't. But I Googled us, and we are nearly 2 full pages on Google.
Oh my God.
Yes, all the social medias are either Confidence Through Cabaret or Your Body, Your World, Your Stage, or because all of our social medias are very active. Facebook community is up there. Our website, confidencethroughcabaret.com, which we host lots of masterclasses on. And there's tons of content on the landing page and on the behind the once you register,
membership,
and then so it's there's so much up there and so excited. So there's so many ways to contact us.
Yeah,
there's more to come as well. The only social medias where we are not Confidence Through Cabaret is Twitter, which is at YBYWYS, and Clubhouse, which I am at Heather YBYWYS.
And everything else is all Confidence Through Cabaret.
All of it. And they're all linked, and it's nearly 2 full pages of our stuff.
Woo!
I know. Well done us.
So thank you
Celebrate success. So
and thank you to everybody who's been supporting us on that journey so far. Like it's been really amazing so far to see how people have been supporting us and checking out the pods and leaving us reviews and stuff and and joining up to the website. I mean, God, as I say, as Heather says so beautifully, there is so much but there is so much more coming. Yes. So make sure you join up. It is this is a massive resource. So join up and come and join us on this journey.
Yes. We can't wait. Be in touch with us.
Yeah,
we're so accessible. Join our community. We do challenges and fun things there. Like and subscribe here. Go check out the podcast. Do all the things. Do all the things. So thank you for joining us at Confidence Through Cabaret. My name is Heather.
And my name is Ryan.
And we're reminding you
that it is your body, your world, your stage. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye. Mwah.